Hi, Denise here. This is my sort of daily news, which I'm lucky if I do it once a week, I guess. I had some interesting news. I think a lot of people who follow things online are watching this new decision. Apparently the United States has handed down a decision that's going to severely cut free speech on the internet. This might be a sky is falling, Chicken Little thing because I heard it from Alex Jones, but just the same, it bears watching. It's interesting that at the same time as that news came out, I was looking at the Rick Ross forum, the famous anti-cult vigilantes who are out to take down every form of independent, small group religious activity they can find. And his forum has moved the threat level. I call it a threat level, the Rick Ross threat level. They've moved from the vicious personal attacks on the leader of a small group called the Jesus Christians to speaking of incineration. There are posts in the Rick Ross forum, and I will, at the end of this little video, I'm going to try to keep this short so that I can clip in some actual screen prints from that forum. There are posts in there in which a former Jesus Christian named Malcolm Wesley West is posting about desiring to see the incarceration or incineration of the leader of the Jesus Christians. This is a precursor to a Waco-style siege. Now, it's not going to happen in the Jesus Christian case because they don't live on one compound, and Rick Ross is famous for setting up situations in which small religious groups get pushed into a siege mentality by this continuous threat. Daily postings of hatred, email messages to not only the group members, but anyone seen friendly to them, anyone who defends their right to free speech and religion. We all get the same hate messages. In my case, they even attacked my daughter's funeral, but that's another subject. What's going on now with the Rick Ross Institute in New Jersey is becoming very serious. Google and search YouTube for all of the videotapes you can find on the Branch Davidians and on Waco, Texas, because you will notice the same set of steps that are being used against the Jesus Christians. Months and even years of continuous negative publicity, even taking neutral articles that the newspapers might write, saying, well, it's a controversial group, blah, blah, blah. They spin it to the extreme negative. Outright lies. Personal demonization. That's the key right there. Rick Ross may as well have declared a fatwa on the Jesus Christians. I'm serious. This it's crazy. and it's getting worse every day. I'm putting out an appeal to everybody who's concerned about free speech, Christian or otherwise. Start looking for ways to demand that the Rick Ross Institute should lose its nonprofit 501 status. They really need to lose that. The United States government has got to stop supporting them, even if it's only their tax-exempt status. But I suspect that Rick Ross is also picking up some contracts, because the federal government is contracting out to consultants on the issue of internet safety, on the issues of cult recruitment. Rick Ross is one of the first people in line for that kind of grant or contract. And his consultation earns him money. Media outlets like Fox News and Dr. Phil and these other tabloid media organizations need to be criticized also for relying on people like Rick Ross, especially for relying on Rick Ross. They've got to be called to account, not to disturb free speech, but to use free speech to call them to account for supporting this fatwa kind of situation in which Ross is allowing people like Malcolm Wesley West, and he spells it W-R-E-S-T. I'm not sure how he pronounces it. And Brian Birmingham, who posts in YouTube as Zeuser. These are public figures. Okay, they're out there publicly attacking this group. They've publicly attacked me. They've even publicly attacked my daughter's memorial. She died in August of this year, and Brian Birmingham was sending me hate messages trying to find out where she lived during the month before she died, and I would not allow him to get that information. But this is the level of hatred. They are at war, and it is real active war. They are speaking now. They are using the word incineration. Those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, when I talk about Waco and the Branch Davidians, that's the siege where Rick Ross first identified them as a so-called dangerous cult, and then got the government to start focusing on them. But in reality, the Branch Davidians were no different than many, many hundreds of small groups who are peaceful, who are just normal, self-defensive, communal groups. And the key is they are collectivized, they are communal, they look out for each other. The Jesus Christians don't even have a physical commune. All they do is stay in touch. And they distribute literature, including some novels written by Dave McKay. And this is where the fatwa comes in. Dave McKay has written some novels about the end times, similar to Tim LaHaye and some of these other preachers who are, no one ever bothers them. But because Dave McKay has written his version, which is nonviolent, peaceful, completely in line with the most peaceful teachings of Jesus you can imagine, yet he is targeted for hate. And I'm asking everyone to take a real close look at what Rick Ross is doing and do something to protect free speech, both on the internet and off it, especially off it. Freedom of assembly, freedom of belief, freedom from hatred and fear. Rick Ross is forming hunter groups. These people are hunting individuals. The only reason they can't bother me is I'm retired and I don't go anywhere. But I'm telling you, they really are hunting individuals, and any reading of their forums will show it. This is not a adolescent flame war on the internet. This is much worse than a simple flame war in forums. It's much, much worse. I'm sorry I couldn't go into more detail. I'm kind of got a lot of work I've got to get done today, but I'm going to try to get back with some more detailed reports on exactly what the Rick Ross Institute is doing to destroy freedom in America today. And that's my daily news. I'm working on my art. I'm just not talking about it. Okay? See you later.